Do you still remember the blockbuster deal that sent Philippe Coutinho from Liverpool to Barcelona? Or Romelu Lukaku's highly anticipated return to Chelsea, which ended in silence and disappointment? These were record-breaking transfers that promised so much but delivered only regret. Every transfer window presents clubs with the chance to refresh their squads and sign players who could elevate their level, but football, as always, is full of unpredictable twists. The first name on the list of the most disappointing signings in Europe for the 2024 to 2025 season is Emile Smith-Rowe. After years of loyal service at Arsenal, the English midfielder chose a new chapter with Fulham in a deal worth €32 million, a fee that made him the most expensive signing in the club's history. Smith-Rowe started the season decently, contributing to 3 goals in the first 5 matches. It seemed he was on his way to becoming Fulham's new leader, but as the season progressed, his form declined. Once a beacon of hope, Smith-Rowe lost his starting spot, starting only once in the last 5 matches. The pressure of his record-breaking transfer fee may have weighed too heavily on him. Still, at 24 years old, and with Fulham remaining patient, the door to redemption has not yet closed. In the number 9 spot, Kalvin Phillips was Ipswich Town's big gamble. On loan from Manchester City, Phillips was expected to bring top-level experience to the newly promoted Premier League side, but instead of being a pillar, he became a burden. Early in the season, Phillips made a costly mistake leading to a goal against West Ham, and later received a red card against Leicester that cost Ipswich a win. Injuries kept him sidelined for long periods. Throughout the season, his most notable contribution was a single goal against Preston Rovers in the FA Cup. Remarkably, he received more cards than goal involvements. A season to forget. From being a star in the European Championship final in 2021, Phillips is now struggling to rediscover form at a mid-trade club, but with his qualities, fans still believe he can make a strong comeback. Next is Joao Félix, whose transfer to Bayern Munich was one of the most talked-about moves. The German Giants paid €56 million to bring him from Fulham, aiming to bolster their midfield. But instead of being a game-changer, Félix endured a turbulent season. Shortly after arriving at Allianz Arena, he suffered a muscle injury that kept him out for 2 months. Upon returning, he was sidelined again due to illness, then sent off in the match against Bochum. As a result, Félix rarely featured in key matches, whether in Champions League knockouts or Bundesliga showdowns. Despite being one of Bayern's most expensive signings in recent years, the Portuguese midfielder has yet to make a real impact in Germany. His first season has been a difficult adjustment. Still, given the level he showed in the Premier League, fans have every reason to hope for a better second year. In the number 7 spot is Raphael Varane, once the defensive leader of Manchester United. After 3 seasons in the Premier League, the French centre-back decided to change direction by joining Como, a newly promoted Serie A side. Arriving as a free agent, Varane was expected to bring leadership and experience to a young team under coach Stefano Briganti. What seemed like a smart move quickly turned into a nightmare. In his debut, Varane suffered a serious injury and never returned to action. Less than 2 months after joining Como, he announced his retirement at the age of 31, ending a career filled with glory but also marked by frustration. Still, Varane has not left football behind. He remains at Como in a leadership role, focused on developing young talent and shaping a modern football mindset. For Como, although they paid no transfer fee, the disappointment is clear. Varane never had the chance to show his worth on the pitch. At number 6 is Federico Chiesa, once one of the brightest attacking talents in Italian football. When Liverpool secured his signature from Juventus for only £10 million, many called it a bargain. With his pace, technique, and ability to break open matches, Chiesa was expected to add depth and quality to a front line already featuring Salah, Gakpo, and Luis Diaz. But those hopes quickly faded as he spent most of the season in the medical room. Chiesa played only 4 Premier League games, totaling just 33 minutes. Notably, every time he started, Liverpool lost. From the Champions League defeat to PSV to the FA Cup loss against Plymouth Argyle, Chiesa seemed to carry a streak of misfortune. Injuries are part of football, but for Chiesa, this season was a nightmare. He could not contribute to his new club, nor regain the form that once made him feared across Europe. Rumors are now swirling about a possible return to Serie A this summer. Wherever he goes next, one thing is clear: Chiesa must rediscover himself. The 5th on the list is Raheem Sterling. a name deeply familiar in Premier League circles. Loaned to Arsenal from Chelsea, many believed this was the perfect chance for Sterling to revive his form and help in the title race. But things went in the opposite direction. Sterling never truly fit into Mikel Arteta's system. He started sporadically, playing less than 400 minutes in the league, not even the equivalent of 5 full matches. 3 assists and 0 goals, that was his entire contribution in an Arsenal shirt. As the team rotated its lineup, many thought Sterling would get more chances, but Arteta consistently looked elsewhere. At times, he even pushed defender Kieran Tierney forward instead of using Sterling. For a player once feared across the Premier League, failing to break into Arsenal's squad is a major letdown. Maybe it was a reunion that came at the wrong time, or perhaps Sterling no longer fits the philosophy at the Emirates. Still, with his experience and character, his journey in football is far from over. In the number 4 spot is Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, a signing that caught many by surprise. Chelsea spent €35 million to bring the midfielder from Leicester City to Stamford Bridge, despite already having a midfield packed with stars. Based on his previous connection with Enzo Maresca, Dewsbury-Hall was expected to become a reliable rotation piece. But the reality turned out far different from expectation. He started only 2 Premier League matches, logging just 254 minutes of domestic action. For the most part, Dewsbury-Hall featured in the Conference League, where Chelsea often fielded a second-string squad. While he showed glimpses in European competition, in the intensity of the Premier League, he was virtually invisible. This transfer reflects the lack of consistency in Chelsea's recruitment strategy, spending big without a clear long-term vision. Rumors are now swirling that he could leave Chelsea this summer without ever getting a real chance to prove himself. For a player who once shined at Leicester, this has been a disappointing step backward. But perhaps a better-fitting destination could help Dewsbury-Hall unlock his true potential once again. High expectations surrounded Eddie Nketiah when he joined Crystal Palace, but instead of becoming the new spearhead of the attack, he left London fans frustrated. It took him half a season to find his first Premier League goal. That strike looked like it might spark a revival, but only 3 games later, a costly red card crushed any momentum he had started to build. The disappointment becomes even clearer when compared to Ismaïla Sarr, brought in for just half the price. The Senegalese star delivered 11 goals and 6 assists, becoming a key figure in Palace's survival campaign. Still, with youth on his side and clear potential, Nketiah has a chance to bounce back if he regains confidence and rediscovers his goal-scoring instinct. But his transfer serves as a wake-up call for Palace as well. Big money signings must be made with greater care. In the number 2 position is Douglas Luiz, brought in by Juventus with hopes of adding creativity and steel to the midfield. The Old Lady of Turin spent €51.5 million to sign the Brazilian after a stellar campaign with Aston Villa. However, Luiz managed to play less than 500 minutes in Serie A, not even the equivalent of 6 full matches. He failed to register a goal or assist and made almost no notable impact on the pitch. Worse yet, he suffered an injury just when Juventus needed consistency, keeping him out for nearly 2 months. In a team that values discipline and tactical rigor, Luiz has yet to find his role. Still, there is hope. If he can overcome fitness issues and adapt to the demands of Italian football, Luiz could return to the form that once lit up Villa Park. Finishing the list is the most controversial name of all, João Félix. After failing to land Samuel Omorodian, Chelsea spent €52 million to sign Felix from Atletico Madrid on a stunning 7-year deal, a bold move no one expected. The excitement vanished quickly as Felix started just 3 Premier League matches before being sent on loan to AC Milan. It seemed like a turning point when he scored in his debut for the Rossoneri, but the old story returned: inconsistent form, lackluster performances, and eventually exclusion from Milan's future plans. Now, AC Milan does not want to keep him. Chelsea is stuck with a long-term contract, and Felix continues to slide in his struggle to reclaim his former brilliance. Once hailed as the heir to Cristiano Ronaldo in the Portugal national team, João Félix is now fighting just to save his career. This is not only a failed transfer in sporting terms, but also a costly lesson for Chelsea in shallow recruitment strategy. The transfer market is always a gamble where hype can turn into heartbreak in just a few months. And sometimes, the most celebrated names become the very signings that clubs and fans regret the most. A new season will soon begin, and who knows, the players once labeled disappointments might find a way to rewrite their stories. But for now, which transfer from last season left you most disappointed? Share your thoughts in the comments.